What was supposed to be the reopening of an old quarry turned out to be quite an adventurous day because this mining crew quickly stumbled upon an object that must have been underground for more than 2 decades. But Carl and his crew didn't truly understand the significance of their finding until they opened the metal box. The crew arrived on Monday morning. It was still dark outside, and with the quarry's location far from town, it was nice and quiet. But that was about to change. Carl and his team were to clean up 25 years of overgrowth and debris from this forgotten quarry. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. With a massively growing house market, the need for stone increased tremendously over the last couple of years, so old quarries like this needed to be reinstated fast. But there was one big problem, and that problem arose fairly quickly after they started delving. It took the team about 2 days to clear all the loose debris and the overgrowth from the quarry. They had heavy machinery and plenty of modern tools, making the task easy. But on the 3rd day, the team hit a major roadblock, quite literally. The digging crane was down in the quarry, and with it, the team had already started deepening and expanding the quarry walls. Dirt and rock were broken off and removed, but then an ear-deafening sound was heard at the front of the crane. The entire team was shaken up by it. What the hell was that? The workers all laid down their gear and started running over to the hole created by the crane. Curiosity was piqued, and when the team looked into the hole created by the crane, they saw a metallic shimmer surface facing them. It was yellowish in color, but other than that, it was hard to make out what it was. Carl ordered his crew to pick up shovels and smaller drilling equipment. It was time to excavate the object from the ground. His team obliged instantly, curious about what was found. The team started vigorously digging up and around the object. Rocks were shattered, and sand fell from its side. At first, the team only saw a speckle of yellow metal, but they quickly noticed that the object was far larger than they had imagined. When the edges of the metallic object were cleared, they saw that it was at least 5 feet in diameter. "What is that?" crew members whispered. After a little bit more digging around the object, the team used there to do the rest of the lifting. Cables were attached to suitable areas, and with some wiggling of the vehicle, they managed to slowly move the object upward. The object was also at least 6 feet deep, and the team looked on in awe rumors of a massive safe with hidden treasure spread amongst workers. "Maybe there is money or gold inside. Whatever it is, this is exciting," one of Carl's workers said. But these thoughts couldn't be further from the truth, because this object wasn't a safe at all, and it surely did not have anything to do with hidden treasure. The metal was very corroded from being in the ground for so long, but it was clear to see the details of this mysterious object. There were doors on both sides, and Carl pulled on the handle of the first one. To his surprise, it opened up. The crew leader stood inside the object. It was a weird doorway about 3 feet deep, with a clear entrance and exit door. Carl's team was confused, but Carl was a bit older and had seen some construction gear in his days. He knew that this was a tunnel door. They used it to strengthen tunnels, holding up tons of ground above while providing passage through dugout areas. Carl opened the door on the exit side this time, seeing his curious team again as he left the object. They were still locked onto the object, wondering what it was. The crew members followed Carl's finger and saw a round opening inside the hole. It's a tunnel. But where does it go? The crew members were excited and nervous at the same time as they stared into the black abyss, but nobody could have predicted what was really inside. Carl took a deep breath as he looked into the dark mouth of the tunnel. "All right, we're going in," he said, a hint of both caution and excitement in his voice. He signaled for the team to grab their flashlights and prepare for the unknown journey ahead. And even though they were a bit more hesitant than he was, one by one, they all obliged and followed Carl into the dark unknown below. They were even more corroded than the doorway, indicating that this place had been untouched for decades. So the question kept looming: who had dug it and why? The crew's flashlights lit up rusted beams. The sight of these beams was unmistakable evidence of engineering intended to withstand time. The tunnel twisted ahead, and the air grew colder with each step. Their whispers grew tense. Then the silence was shattered. A bone-chilling cry echoed through the tunnel. The crew froze, flashlights shaking as fear swept through them. One of them, a younger man named Mark, muttered, "I'm not staying down here another second," and turned back. The others quickly followed. Carl didn't try to stop them. The tunnel was too narrow for everyone, and he didn't want anyone down there who didn't want to be. "Fear is a liability down here," he told those who remained. After the dust settled, Carl and 5 others stayed behind. Though nervous, they were determined to continue. As they moved forward, Carl noticed colored markings on the beams, different shades, same shape like signs meant to guide them. Then the sound came again, this time softer, almost melodic, a strange calling from deeper within. They crept forward until the tunnel bent sharply. Rounding the corner, they were greeted by an astonishing sight, an underground chamber, larger than the ground floor of Carl's own house. They crawled through the narrow entrance and entered the chamber. Scribbled drawings covered the rocky walls, and tools leaned against the edges. In one corner, a pile of blankets rested on a makeshift cot fashioned from pipes and mesh. Carl stepped forward, flashlight trembling. This wasn't just a hiding spot. Someone had lived here. "Guys, look at this," Mark whispered, holding up a tattered leather book, half-fused to a stone shelf. Carl opened it carefully. The pages were brittle, the ink mostly smeared, but a few lines remained. Day 172. The noise came back. The earth rumbled all around us today, and there was no way of knowing when it would stop. If we don't reinforce the area, it could be our last day down here. I hope that one day my words will find kind eyes. And if not, consider this my goodbye. We've had a blessed life, even though this tragedy dominated the last part of it. The following page was torn. No more writing came after. The entry haunted Carl. Was this their last message? Had they died down here? As they continued exploring, a crew member found a small, rusted locket tucked into a rock crevice. Inside was a black and white photo of a smiling woman and child. Carl approached a dusty workbench. Resting on it were various tools, hammers, knives, a crank drill, all modified with wire and cloth. These weren't mining tools anymore. They were adapted for survival. Another crew member unearthed a small, rusted locket hidden in a rock crevice. Inside was a black and white photo of a smiling woman and child, a reminder of someone's life above ground. Carl's inspection revealed a strange symbol on one of the tools. He recognized it, though he couldn't recall from where. Before he could dwell on it, the tunnel filled again with the sound, the same whine, now accompanied by footsteps. The approaching steps grew louder. Carl signaled his team to hide behind boulders, dimming their flashlights. Soon, a group of elderly men entered the chamber. Dressed in worn work clothes, each looked to be over 60. Their presence stunned the crew. One of the men swung a lantern whose hinge emitted the same whine they'd heard earlier. Then, a small gasp escaped one of Carl's crew. It was enough to draw attention. "Who's there?" one of the old men called out. Carl motioned for silence, but it was too late. The man stepped toward them. Realizing they had no escape, Carl and the team rushed toward the tunnel. Just before reaching the bend, a voice called out behind them. "Stop! We mean you no harm." The voice wasn't threatening. Carl turned to see the man with the lantern standing calmly. He wasn't following them, he seemed sincere. Carl looked to his team. "We came here to discover what's down here. Let's find out together." They agreed and slowly returned to the chamber. The man stepped forward and introduced himself as John. Behind him, the rest of the elders resumed their quiet routine. "How did you find this place?" he asked. Carl explained they had uncovered a sealed tunnel door while clearing debris above. John's expression changed, his eyes widened, and the other men stirred. "This used to be an active mine," John finally said. "A big one. Decades ago. An earthquake collapsed most of it. While others escaped, we were trapped." He paused. "At first, we tried to dig out, but the damage was too severe. Eventually, we accepted we wouldn't be rescued. Their only choice was to survive. Fortunately, there were enough canned provisions stored for a full mining crew. With just 8 men, the food lasted. They rationed strictly, surviving on beans and rice. But hunger wasn't the worst part. Loneliness was. "That was over 30 years ago," Carl said in disbelief. John nodded, his voice tinged with sorrow. "Yes, and we had no way out. The tunnels were sealed off, and we couldn't dig our way out without risking a collapse." The room fell silent as Carl processed what John had just told him. "The door we found," Carl said softly. "It's open now. There's a way out." The miners looked stunned. "Are you serious?" John asked. Carl nodded. "Yes, we can get you out." John exhaled deeply, the weight of years lifting. With Carl's guidance, the miners slowly made their way through the tunnel. When they reached the surface, daylight blinded their eyes. The world had changed, but they were free. They were taken to a hospital, where they stayed for 2 weeks. Some still had family, and those reunions were filled with emotion. Carl, moved by the moment, wiped away a tear. As the miners regained strength, bonds deepened. Carl hosted a barbecue. The first time the men sat under open sky without fear. Media requests followed, but Carl turned most down. "This isn't about fame," he said. "It's about family." When asked what Carl's crew meant to them, John replied, "They're our bridge to the world." The town honored Carl's crew with the Medal of Community Valor. The miners stood beside them, proud. Each name was read aloud, recognizing not just survival but their return. The mine was eventually closed for good. Months later, the quarry resumed work. A plaque was placed near the entrance, bearing the names of the 8 miners and the words, "Hope never rusts." Carl often visited the plaque, sometimes alone, remembering that even lost stories can be unearthed and rewritten. The crew returned to their routines, but something in them had changed. They had witnessed the strength of the human spirit, and now, whenever they looked into the depths of a tunnel, they no longer saw darkness, they saw the promise of light.